off tonight with a great super chat like that. Thank you. And Fapster, wow, man. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you. Anthony, good to see you. I think I'm caught up. Richard Elmore, nice to have you here. Thanks, guys, for the super chats. That honestly means a lot. Really does mean a lot. Really appreciate that. Butch Witkowski, we got him here in about 1 minute. 1 minute. And Super Butch here, you know, he is one of the best guys that we get on this show. Oh, TH, thank you so much for that super chat. Really do appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. That love is just, honestly, it's so thanked on this end. It really, really is. All right, let's... Graham is said to be ready for the show. Justin Goodearth, good to see you. We got about 20 seconds, so a great way to support what we do is hit that subscribe button. We're trying for 15,000 subscribers before May 24th, and of course the super chat is open. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and let's have a great show tonight. Our man, myth, and legend, Butch Witkowski, is back, and here we go, guys. Let's have a good one. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. If you wish to take a listen to our archives, we have them free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Kicking off the final week of the month, we always bring in the man, the myth, and the cryptid legend, Butch Witkowski himself, for a segment we love to call around here Strange Days. This is where we take a serious look at the cryptid and paranormal realm with one of the crankiest individuals you will ever find in this field. And we love Butch's crankiness ever so gently around here. Butch is the creator and lead investigator of Pennsylvania's UFOcop.com. He's been investigating since 1989. He's a former police officer who uses those skills to try and find the monsters among us. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Mr. Butch Witkowski, it's always a pleasure to have you here, my friend. How are you?
I'm fine. There's a little bit of a cold, but always a pleasure to be on.
Well, you know what? I just look at our lineup, man, and when you're about to come on, I'll tell you, it sure creates quite the happiness with our audience. That's for sure. I don't know why, but it's just that way.
Do I owe him money?
You may. You may. You know. But you got a lot of fans out there, my friend, and you've been doing this a long time, Butch, a long time. And I got to ask you, do you ever just sit back and say, what the hell am I wasting my time for?
Pretty much every day.
Really? I wouldn't expect that.
Yeah, well, you get to a point where you almost don't even have to read a whole report to kind of in your mind tells you, like, this one needs to go on the round file and this one I need to study up on. But, I have somebody asked me the other day how many reports I have read or done, and I have no idea. I've got boxes and boxes and file cabinets full of reports. So I couldn't tell you, honestly. But let's just say it's more than a dozen.
I got to ask you, okay, and I hope you investigate for decades to come, my friend. But have you ever thought about what you're going to do with all of your reports and information when that time comes, when you decide to retire?
Yeah, I've given it some thought. I really have to find an investigator that's kind of in the same realm as I am, a little nuts, a little horny, a little weird, but a go-getter, somebody that's going to continue on, because, it's just like the library. What am I going to do with the library? There's like 800 books in the library on everything from Bigfoot, cryptids, dogmen, UFOs, paranormal, devil worshiping. I mean, there's just a ton of books. But I'll find somebody. There's somebody out there. I just got to make sure they're younger than I am.
Is it important to pass on the legacy, whereas so many researchers, and the one that comes to mind, the late Jim Mars, never had anybody to take over his incredible research?
Yeah, that is sad because there was a lot of research there, but that's happened a number of times with a number of well-known and very well-liked investigators over the years. I don't know. It's the ones you think could carry on. When you really think about it, you're going like, nah. And then there's a couple that pop up that you go like, well, maybe that's possible. But I don't know. It's not something I'm looking forward to, that's for sure.
No, and I realize that you still have a lot of game left. You got a lot invested. You have a lot of time to sort through any of these mysteries that are kind of out there. But you're a legacy carrier, and it would be a shame if, say, one day you're just like, you know what, I've had it, I'm done. Just don't want to do it anymore. I'm tired, and I'm feeling happy rather than cranky, and it's time to move the torch over.
Well, I mean, that thought has entered my head a couple times, but it always comes back to, nope, got to finish this, got to do that. You know what I mean? There's always something pops up.
What keeps you? Okay, like, so let's flip that. What keeps you going? Why do this?
The illusion of the truth. I mean, the Dyatlov case, which I've been working on for years and years and years. I mean, I'm just about half crazy with that thing. Another case pops up in the same area, of course. I'm sure some of your people have already read it. But, according to Newsweek, there was a team of 8 unregistered hikers. And to go to Dyatlov Pass, you have to be registered with the government. And I guess these folks took off, and they were supposed to return on the 10th of February, and they never showed up. Newsweek published the first report. The Ministry of Emergency Situations got involved for that region. The news outlet, it's called Izvestia, couldn't get any information out of them, but persistence pays off. I kept calling until I got a investigator in Russia who was also looking into it, and I'm sure he's going to have a lot more ways and means of getting that information from the Russian government than I ever will. So they're still missing. They came out of Moscow. That's pretty much about all everybody knows about them. And like I said, they were unregistered because the government, ever since the Dyatlov Pass, you've got to come up with a lot of good reasons and probably some coin to get your butt out in the trail. And you got to call in, and they got to know where you're at and all this other stuff. But it's just one of those things, like, the Dyatlov Pass, you work on it, everything, this pops up, that pops up, new investigation from the government pops up, you go through that, you go through the autopsy reports, you go through all the photographs and measurements and all that stuff, and the maps. Who would think that there was another group that was going to go missing?
Yeah.
And lo and behold, they're gone. I checked today, there's been no updates since the 10th. I got a hold of my guy 3 days after that when I saw there was nothing more being published about it. And so he says he has some connections, at that media outlet, Investia. So we'll see where it goes from that.
Butch, there was also, since you were last on, a report that came out stating that these scientists have solved, potentially, the Dyatlov Pass case, saying that it was an avalanche that ripped the tongue out of that person, that broke the inner chest without any bruising on the other one.
That's a dandy.
What's your thoughts on that? Well, first, for our audience who may not know, maybe fill us in on what happened and then give us your debriefing of it.
Well, it took place, just turned 50 years, I guess. 9 hikers, actually 10, started out on the hike. One went back, he got sick, ill, and he turned back. And the other 9 went on, I think it was February 5th. They cut themselves out of their own tent, made a book down the almost a mile to a tree line, and 7 of them were found dead a couple weeks later when they didn't return, and search parties turned up. And then I think there was quite a period of time, I think it was almost 2 months before they found the other 2. But the bodies had traumatic injuries, fractures, missing eyes, missing tongue. With the first autopsy report pretty much stated that the doctor that did the main examinations, the head banana, he said, the only way you get these kind of injuries is if you get hit by a speeding truck. Now, no speeding trucks in that area, no roads, no nothing like that. So, of course, all the other stuff started. It was a Yeti. It was the Russian government. It was the Russian military. It was a rocket test. It was some kind of new weapons test. It just went on. I mean, there were so many things that just kept coming out and out and out. It was just changing. So after all this time, last year, well, actually 2019, the government opened up the case, and they put their top investigators on there. And after a year, they came back and said that they died of hypothermia. Okay. So their story was, or their theory, which they want everybody to believe, is that there was a slab avalanche above them, which came down, scared them. They took off. They ran. Now, these people, when they left the tent, they were pretty much barefoot and half naked. And, they run a mile through this blizzard, this snow and wind and everything else. And the only problem with that is, the first problem is a slab avalanche. Well, first of all, they said they outran it. There is no way in this earth, and this puts Jesse Owens right in the top of the mix. Not even he could outrun an avalanche. A small avalanche runs between 20 and 40 mile per hour. A large one, you can get up into 100 plus. So the first pictures you see from the investigation is the tent is still there. Now, if this slab avalanche took place, why is the tent still there? I mean, their skis are still stuck in the ground straight up. They're not, there's no way in any of the photographs that there's any, any sign of an avalanche. Number 2, there's footprints leading from the tent all the way down to the tree line. Now, if it was an avalanche, why are there footprints there? And, it's just so ridiculous that, and actually the original autopsy said that they died of a compelling unknown force. So what the heck is a compelling unknown force? That's nuts.
It's not an avalanche.
Compelling unknown force. I mean, when you read the autopsy, and it's available on the internet, anybody can look it up. When you read that autopsy, I mean, they had fractured skulls besides missing parts, but fractured skulls, caved-in ribs, caved-in chest, broken bones. I mean, they ran the whole gamut. I mean, it was like they were hit by a truck. Mm-hmm. But these folks ran down to that tree line, and then three were on their way back to the tent, and then that's where they found them first. But it's just amazing that people actually believe that the slab avalanche took them out and caused them to run in fear and drop and die of hypothermia. No mention in the new report of any injuries. And, there was one mention. It just says injuries were caused by the slab avalanche. But so the avalanche happens above them. Two scientists already said that the incline of where they were camped and where the tent was, there was no way, because first of all, there wasn't that much snow, and second of all, it has to have like 3 or 4 different layers, and they have names for the layers. I can't remember them offhand, but you have to have those 3 layers for that top layer to move. Well, it don't have that. It only has, there's rock and there's dirt and then there's snow. Well, something has to cause the avalanche, and that's why they say that there's like an intermittent layer or two that gets wet and gets, kind of starts to deteriorate. And when it deteriorates, that's when the slab moves.
Well, let me play devil's advocate here for a second, because
sure.
if these people, and trust me, I'm on the woo side of this. I am not on the avalanche side, but I'm going to play the avalanche devil's advocate right now, Devil's Tower. See the pun I've made there? Pun.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I made that one up myself. But devil's advocate, you start hearing the noise of an avalanche because it's loud. All right? You can cut yourself out of the tent because getting yourself unzipped and everything like that is going to take time, process. Getting your shoes on, your boots on, is going to take time as well. So, I mean, I can see that happening. An avalanche would have the power with snow turning over to throw that one person up into the tree. All right. Now, I'm just saying that logic says that's kind of the way that it could happen. But it doesn't explain all of these mysteries where internal injuries happened without any bruising on the outside of the body, tongues being ripped out.
Yeah. Well, one of the other things that kind of throws that whole avalanche theory out the window, there was a Swedish team and a, I can't remember where the other team was from, I think Germany, went to the scene not too long afterwards, and they did all kind of tests on the angle of the slope and all this stuff. And it's just like the one scientist said. He said, look, first of all, the slopes, there's not enough slope there to cause that type of an avalanche. And the biggest problem with the avalanche theory is, why is the tent still there? An avalanche would have took the tent and took it all the way down to the tree line. But there's there's snow on top of the tent in the photographs, but that's from the snow. It was snowing. And them cutting the sides out, weakened the tent, of course, it collapsed in the center. But what they did find when they got the tent back and went over that forensically, there were slits crosswise in the tent on one side looking out toward the woods at the bottom of the hill. And then there's, of course, the big slits that, that they went through. But there's no, they did the UFO thing. There were no reports of any lights. The military said, the military said you got to take that with a grain of salt. But like you said, you have all those injuries. 3 had injuries, but still were getting back to the tent. Then the other ones at the bottom of the hill, towards the tree line and in the tree line and the creek, those bodies were just devastated. I mean, I've investigated quite a few accidents in my time, and I'll tell you what, coming across something like that, you go like, what the heck are these people? Because that's exactly what it looks like. They were hit by something. Now, what were they hit by? People say, oh, well, there's that last picture on the camera where there's a light in the sky. Well, that camera was also laying in frozen water for over 2 months. So that could be a camera issue, but they don't push on that camera issue. Most of the researchers that I've talked to over the years in that area, in Russia and in that area of the Urals, they all say the same thing. There is no way it could have happened the way they're saying it happened because there's just too many variables that don't match. First of all, the injuries, that's number one. I mean, you cave somebody's chest in, there's no marks. Eyes removed, tongue removed, cracked spine, busted ribs on both sides, leg fractures, arm fractures. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And it's just like the one guy said, well, I mean, in the last report, the one of the things said, well, the one gentleman, he fell, and, that's what probably fractured his skull. Then he got up and ran. Now, the autopsy with the drawings of the fracture, it goes pretty much almost all the way around his head. And the doctor said he was killed instantly. But he wasn't. There was no rocks there. I mean, there was no rocks at all. It was just snow. So you just don't fall in the snow and fracture your skull like that, or break bones of any type. A lot of them had markings on their hands, like they put up a fist fight, bruised and bloody and scratched up, and a lot of them had cuts and bruises. You don't get cuts and bruises in the snow. I mean, so it's one of those things where nobody knows exactly what happened. There's like, I think I documented 15 or 18 theories over the years as to what took place. And it makes no sense. And the thing, if the tent wasn't there, if it was washed down at the bottom of that little ravine, that's a different story. But that tent is still there. That tent is upright. The only reason it collapsed in the middle is because it was snowing. It snowed hard. Excuse me. And the sides were cut out. So there was nothing holding it up. It just collapsed under the weight of the snow. Hence the footprints. So you have this snow slide, which allegedly scares them out of the tent, but it doesn't go anywhere. There's no evidence of a snow slide. And there's footprints leading from the tent all the way down to the tree line. I mean, that's how they found the first three. They just followed the footprints. And then, when they found the other ones in the tree line, again, they followed the footprints, and the footprints were there. It didn't snow that much, or the footprints wouldn't have been there. But you never even got to the part where, there was any other type of footprint, like somebody had shoes or boots on, or a Yeti print of some sort, Bigfoot, whatever. A landing area for a craft of some kind, or burned trees, or ground. I mean, there was just no evidence of anything else other than something scared these folks while they were in that tent. Enough to the point where they cut themselves out and split. No ifs, ands, or buts. They never gave it a thought. They just took off. And unfortunately for them, I don't know what caused all the injuries. Probably nobody will ever know that. But they were not dressed for that type of weather. And they ran over a mile, and two of them were actually barefoot. I don't know about you, and we had more snow today. This is starting to get like Saskatchewan up here. And it's snowing right now. So I know, barefooted, if I left my place right now and walked out to my yard, if I got to the end of the yard without falling over, I'd be lucky. So it's one of those cases where it's just, there's something there that everybody's missing. I mean, there's a lot of people in Russia investigating this case, a lot. There's actually the Dyatlov Research Center, which I've been in touch with many, many times. The guy tells me right out, he said, what you're reading and what you're seeing and the stuff they're putting out, he said, it's not true. It's just not true.
Butch, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we'll continue on talking Dyatlov Pass with Butch Witkowski from UFOcop.com, which you can always go to if you have something weird, strange happening, or you just need some solid sage advice from Butch Witkowski, because he is a cryptid psychologist as well. Cryptid psychologist.
Wow.
That's how I roll, man. That's how I roll.
I'll have to put that on my business card.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Uh-huh. Trust me, I don't know where this shit comes from. It just kind of pops up. Just kind of pops up. Mm-hmm. It's a quick half hour.
Mm-hmm. As usual.
Human Carl's in the other chat room. Human Carl. Not to be misconstrued with Alien Carl, but Human Carl. Where's Emily Bigelow going already? Already an early buy like that? Like 30 minutes in? It's just like buy? She looks forward to Butch every month. Butch even has deodorant on for this one.
And pants.
And pants. Well, that surprises me, actually. Not going to lie, I'm a little surprised by that. Oh, no, she goes, what? I'm so here. Well, good, because we need some Emily Bigelow time here. Oh, that was her son typing by. That's so cute. That is so cute. Yeah, we were about to sing Please Don't Go, Emily. Even Butch was going to sing.
Oh, boy.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Off-World Adam, how you doing? Susan Place, how are you? So I'm going to be starting a new feature up on my YouTube channel.
What's that?
There's a lot, if you go on YouTube, there's a lot of these, stories that they call creepypasta, which are like short horror stories of stuff like from creatures like Bigfoot, Dogman, Hat Man, and all of these aliens, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So old Davey decided, well, what can we do in order to make that work for our YouTube channel? So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be interviewing our audience members. 10, 15-minute videos of their weirdest or spookiest story of the paranormal, supernatural that they have. And it's going to be their voices telling their stories.
I like it.
Yeah. We're going to try and pump out one a week. I just got to figure something out on the editing side. But once I get that done, I'll be good. Hey, Bombshell Bomber. The Bombshell Bomber. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I used it as an example, Sovereign Farts. So we're calling it SOR's True Tales. The Ronald Penton already giving you crap tonight, saying, why is Butch being so cool tonight? Jeez. Hey, James Horn. I'll try and rile him up here. I'm trying here, okay? We'll get him going here. Don't worry. We're shifting into second gear here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're calling it SOR's True Tales. SOR's True Tales. So I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I'll try and work a 5-minute rant in from Butch, TH. I'll try. Let me see if I can get him fired up here. People have come to expect it, Butch. They've come to expect it. They want you to go Macho Man Butchie Savage on someone. All right, 20 seconds left. Thank you to the lovely and talented Alaska's greatest athlete, Emily Bigelow, Jenny Whitebear, TH, Fapster, and Major Lee for the awesome super chats. Thank you so much for the love and support. And don't forget, if you're new, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button. Here we go with the second half hour. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. Want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on with Butch Witkowski's Strange Days, Butch's website, UFOcop.com. He comes in once a month here to tell us about everything weird, strange. We're talking about the Dyatlov Pass right now because there was a report a few weeks ago since Butch was last on talking about how it was an avalanche that killed these 9 hikers. But the evidence is not adding up from the past, Butch. You know, let me ask you this. With these scientists who gave this answer of this avalanche that likely killed the 9 Dyatlov Pass hikers, I want to ask you, did they have access to any documentation that outsiders would have, or any documents, not outsiders, pardon me, that insiders would have on this?
Well, the Dyatlov Institute, which is a research center, has shared everything. They have the original photographs, they have original negatives, they have clothing, they have different pieces of equipment that were there, pieces of the tent. I mean, they've really been at it hard and fast for many, many years. And they pretty much share everything. You know, when I called up and told them, you know, who I was, what I was doing, you know, they were more than happy to help me with anything I needed and put me in the right direction to find information. But the actual cause of death from the second investigation by the government, hold your seat, buddy. They died of hypothermia. My ass, hypothermia. What are you talking? Give me a break. Hypothermia. No kidding. Hypothermia. It was 30 degrees below zero. They're running around out there pretty much buck naked. Everybody's making up silly, stupid stories about Yetis and flying UFOs and weapons tests and all this nonsense. Something scared those kids. Now, another one was infrasound. That popped up, I don't know how many times in the last year on every investigation that's on TV, they're talking about infrasound. They wouldn't know infrasound if it bit them in the butt, and they couldn't find their butt with both hands. It's just crazy the way these people just make this stuff up and try to throw you off, and there's nobody doing anything about it. Now, there's researchers that feel the same way I do. I mean, they get just as cranked up as I do. But one of the things is, like, you know, I'm just trying to find the truth. Something killed those kids. Something scared them out of that tent, whatever it was. And one guy said, well, maybe they had a fire in the tent. Well, if you read the report, you found out that they had a stove. They never put the stove together, and there was no fire in the tent. And then they said, well, there was branches broken off high in the trees. Well, it could have been a UFO. Yeah, one tree in a forest has a broken branch, and you're telling me it's a UFO. Don't give me that crap. I don't want to hear it. And hypothermia? No kidding, Dick Tracy. Hypothermia. How do you explain the crushed chest, fractured skulls, broken bones, bloody this, bloody that, missing eye, missing tongue? I mean, give me a break. And then all they do is they get you crazy after a while. And, you start thinking that it doesn't even make any sense what they're trying to sell. So what they're telling me, in fact, is that you can research this all you want because you're a dumbass. We know the truth, and we already told you what happened. They died of hypothermia, and that's the end of it. Well, not likely, because now they got 8 more people that are missing. Nothing coming out of the government at all. Nothing coming out of the news agency. And there's like 3 dozen investigators that I know of that are hot and heavy on this. And it's nonsense. I mean, if you're going to tell me a story, at least start out with something like, in a galaxy far, far away, or once upon a time. Give me just read the facts. And I want to tell you something, folks. All that stuff is on the internet. There, you punch in. You just do a Google of Dyatlov Pass information, and there's one site there. It's a lady that's been researched it since pretty much day one, and the information, the autopsy reports there, the notes, every page of their diaries are there. Timestamps, photographs, autopsy reports, the investigator's information. The only thing that has not been published is the second investigation. All the other investigation is published, the first investigation. The second one done by the Russian government that says they died of hypothermia, that's not been published at all. And rightly, the guy that would put that down on paper would be classified as an idiot day one. Okay.
My entire audience is cheering for you. I can hear them chanting USA, USA right now, man. I can totally hear them right now. Butch, I got to ask you, what about the theory of DEW weapons? So, all of these DEWs, these deep energy weapons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, they've come up with everything you can think of. I mean, if they could put down on paper that they were killed by flying meatballs, they'd put it on there. I mean, they've got Yeti, they got UFOs, they got the military, they got military intelligence, they got the Mansi, which they cleared, the Mansi tribe, which lives close by. They've got Yeti, what else they got? Infrasound, they got some kind of wind. I can't even pronounce what they're calling it. And that's another thing. This wind that they're talking about, which they pretty much brought up a little bit in the first report, was it's a wind that doesn't occur a lot. It mostly occurs in the Himalayas or very high mountains, and it's an atmospheric thing where you could have a little bit of wind, maybe 10, 20 mile an hour, and it'll have bursts of 200-300 mile per hour. So the one investigator from the Russian government says that, well, it was probably this airburst that went around the mountain and caused a high whistle, which scared them, and they ran out of the tent and they all died. Well, I'd like to sell these guys some land in Arizona on the ocean side. What a bunch of morons. It's one thing when people use common sense when they're doing an investigation, but when people start feeding you stuff like that, it's kind of like they're calling you a moron, and like you're believing everything you're telling. I mean, give me some. Oh, I'm gonna give myself a stroke. They have, look, whatever happened. All that we're asking for, as we do in any investigation, whether it's Dyatlov Pass or bipedal canines or Bigfoot or anything like that, just show us the evidence. Let us decide. I don't want some goofball sitting at a desk in downtown Moscow typing on a typewriter that they died of hypothermia. Well, no kidding, Dick Tracy. What was your first clue there, Sparky? You moron. Oh.
What do you think happened at Dyatlov? I don't mean to laugh. I apologize. But
yes, you do.
No, I don't. But what do you think happened then?
something scared that. Now, I'm not discounting infrasound, because that does happen. It's just a very rare occurrence. And it is something that has really only ever been documented in the southern hemisphere. It's not ever been documented in the mountains of the Ural Mountains or anything like that. Something, they either saw something or heard something. I'm going to go with the saw something, because when you look at the photographs of the tent after it's put up again, it's not in the snow anymore. It's back at their headquarters or wherever. And you look at the tent, there you can see there's 4 slices going left to right on top of the tent. They were peering out. They saw something, heard something, were looking, and then that's when they slice the tent open and just book. Now, the avalanche, they would have heard that coming. That's not something. But when the guy said that they outran the avalanche, give me a break. Did you ever see anybody outrun an avalanche? They show them on TV all the time. The guy's on a friggin'
snowmobile. Yeah.
And he gets run over at 100 miles an hour, and they don't find him for months. And these kids are running barefoot in snow, and they're kids. And that's the part that really sucks. I mean, they're kids, you know. And another thing, they were all experienced hikers. As a matter of fact, a couple of them did that trip before. That's not their first trip. So it's not like you've had a bunch of inexperienced boobs out there. These folks did this before. And it's something spooked them. Now, could it have been ball lightning? Nobody brought that up. And I've seen ball lightning one time in my life. Scared the crap out of me, because it comes out of nowhere. It's low to the ground, and it's like standing next to a howitzer when a cannon goes off. So then you have, there was one thing where, and that came out of the Russian Research Center, where they said they had proof of the military involvement. They found it's like a coverall for a boot, and it's only issued to the military. Well, that was shot down because some guy went to a local surplus store and was buying them by the dozens for the Mansi tribe. Yeti, when you look at Yeti reports, or Bigfoot, or mink is what they call them, they're way north of the Ural Mountains. They're the northern part. They're near Sverdlovsk, in that area. That's where all the reports are. Reports in the area of the Mansi village and stuff. And that's another thing. The Mansi didn't hear anything. They didn't see anything. Then, of course, they come up with there was a UFO or something that was trying to land or flashing a light or something that scared them. No, they heard something. That's why they were looking out. If the tent wouldn't have been destroyed and they weren't looking out, and they saw something. It's not that they heard something and booked. So the truth will come out. I mean, there's just too much information out there. And why did the lead, this was the one that bothered me for the very first time I read the report. The lead investigator, 25 years as an investigator, a crash investigator, missing persons, a guy that takes care of all kind of disasters and stuff like that. 25 years experience. He is on site one day, and he quits. He not only quits the investigation, he quits the service. So now what do we have? And then, of course, when we got to talk about the orange coating on the bodies, well, that's, they say, well, only 2 of the bodies had it. It was radiation. And both of those kids worked in a factory where there was radiation, something they were working on, a building. So it was very sparse amount of radiation. And it was basically on their clothing. It wasn't in the body, because, when they opened up the bodies, there was nothing like that. So we have this thrown out nonsense, which a lot of outfits do, to, just either pass it off and in some cases to make the whole thing more exciting. Not too long ago, I listened to a show where they had a guy on, I don't even remember where he's from. But anyway, somebody called me on the phone and said, I got to listen to this, and I did. And the guy says he had 500 plus reports of the bipedal canine all over the world, and that a number of these folks were killed by these canines, and the police were involved. And the first words out of my mouth were, okay, so we have police reports, right? He said, no, there's no reports. And I'm going like, no reports, huh? But the police investigated something like that. Now, we have the church lady down in North Carolina who was mauled by something. They still don't know what it was. I mean, she pretty much got her butt shredded and died in the hospital. When they found her, she was pretty much bled out. They're still working on that case. It was one lady, not 500 people. One lady. And I'm sure in all my research for bipedals, I would have come across these reports somewhere or another. I found zero, none. I have, I've got a listing of every death caused by a wolf from the 1700s up until 2 years ago. Where, when, how, was it investigated by the police? Did they get the wolf? Did they do this? Everything. So I'm giving myself a headache.
Well,
but anyway.
Just don't stroke out on us, my friend.
Here's what I'm saying, Dave. People do that kind of stuff for two reasons. One, to throw you off the case. That's number one. Or two, for the fortune and glory of it. Neither works, because eventually some jerk like myself or somebody else will find something and they won't be able to explain it. And, well, you know how that ends up. But I'm not buying the Dyatlov case information from the new report. I think the first autopsy, the guy was very honest to what he found. When he was asked about hypothermia in his spiel that he gave to the public, he said, of course they died of hypothermia. Not. All he said was they had traces of hypothermia. Now, the bodies are found under a couple feet of snow. I'm sure it took them 3 or 4 days to thaw them out. So, but he said the cause of death he listed in the first autopsy was that they were killed by an unknown compelling force. Now, whether that was a force of nature or a force of human, whatever. But there has to be an answer. It can't be let go. I mean, these kids deserve more than that. And I just found out, that was a couple months ago, where the government actually dug up one of the bodies, exhumed one of the bodies. Now, why they did that, I have no idea. But they did. It was one of the males. So, hey.
What about that photo out there that looks like there is a Bigfoot or some sort of creature in the trees?
That was one of the hikers. Yeah, when you blow it up, you can see his jacket. You can see the buttons on his jacket, the hat. It was one of the hikers. First of all, the body mass, the chest area is too thin. The arms aren't long enough. They're very human-looking legs. That one got passed out a long time ago.
Okay. Well, I guess that makes sense. So in the end, you're thinking ball lightning? Or some sort of
it's a possibility, because if you're not expecting something like that, you're going to have a really bright flash of light. I mean, it'd be like looking into 1,000 flash bulbs at the same time. Plus, you'd have this horrendous sound, and it's not a rumbling sound. It's like one big boom, and it shakes and shatters everything. Now, if I was in a tent and I heard that and saw all this bright light, man, I'd book too. But I think I'd put some shoes on. but it scared them enough. Hey, you know how fear is.
Oh, yeah.
You get 20 guys out in the field hunting and somebody yells bear and they're all back in the truck in a matter of minutes.
Very true. Very true when it comes to that. But, you know, why do you think if it was a natural phenomena like ball lightning that there's so much conspiracy around this? If it's a if it's a natural effect, why?
Well, the very first thought of this whole thing from the very beginning was that it was a Yeti. And they only got that because in one of the diaries was written, "The snowman lives." Now, they've already proved that that was not her handwriting. It was put in after the fact, so that was just some clown. Plus, you had the one photograph of the guy we just talked about. So the Bigfoot mink thing popped up and stayed there for quite a while. Well, then that was kind of shot down because there are no reports from that area at that time. Now, here's another one that you got to attach to this. I can't remember how many years prior now, but prior to the Dyatlov case, on the same mountain, there was 9 Mansi warriors out hunting. I don't remember when it was. And they disappeared. And then they were found, all dead. And then in the 50s, I think 54, 55, a plane went down in the same area, a little further north of the location where the Dyatlov team was. And that crashed, and everybody on board was killed there, too. There were 9 people on that ship.
Interesting.
Now you have the new case that just popped up, and you got 8 people on the ship, out there somewhere.
Okay.
I guess they call it Mountain of the Dead for a reason.
Well, very understandable. As we got about 2 minutes left before we have to go. We have from DietlovPass.com. It's like I don't know if you've checked that site. You probably have. Teddy Hadieska is probably one of the most prominent researchers of anything. She'll be on the show next month talking about the Dyatlov Pass and what we're talking about tonight regarding this new information. Butch, here's the thing that I don't get with ball lightning, okay? I don't get it, but ball lightning doesn't rip a tongue out.
No. And here's another thing with the tongue and the eyes. That got shot down right away when they said the tongue was missing and the eyes were gone. And the first thing out of the Russian investigators on scene said, the animals did it. Well, there was no evidence, according to the first autopsy, on any body that he examined. Was there any signs of animal chewing or ripping or tearing? Claws, nothing like that. None, zero, nada. Around the mouth, around the eye areas, I mean, it just, look, if something's going to chew on your tongue, it's got to get through your lips. It's got to do more damage than just rip your tongue out. The tongue was ripped out to mid-thorax. Something pulled that tongue out, and it wasn't an animal. Same thing with the eyes. Same thing with that guy with the fractured skull. When you look at the autopsy report on that site that you're talking about, it's all on there. This guy's skull fracture it'd be like hitting somebody in the head with a friggin' sledgehammer. And he did that falling in the snow? I don't think so.
Butch, I'm going to get you to wind on down for a few minutes because we literally got to go to break here at the top of the hour. Well, we did our job. We wound him up. The crankiest curmudgeon of them all of the cryptid world, Butch Witkowski, on a roll talking about the Dyatlov Pass. Where we're going in hour number 2, we don't even know yet. We really don't know yet, but I know this for a fact, that Butch's game is back on par, and we are loving every minute of it. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days happens near the end of each month, where we bring Butch in from UFOcop.com to try and see his opinion on some of these weird, strange creatures that are being seen all over the world. We'll return with Butch Witkowski in Hour 2 next. You got to prepare me for one of your tantrums like that, because I don't have an American flag to wave around here.
I got to go check my blood pressure.
I'll be right back, too.
Okay.
Hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spicing up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at Kajans.com.
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month. And follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Hi. This is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
Hey Space Travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio App from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio App now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio App. Free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will do...
Are you back, Butch?
Yes, sir.
You still alive?
Yep, blood pressure's okay.
Oh, God. Oh, I love you, man. Oh, I love you.
Oh, wait, I can get to another one real quick.
Oh, don't worry. I got one coming up here for you.
Okay.
I got one coming up for you. Holy cow. Joe is asking, does anybody know where Butch was during the Dietlof Pass incident? I'm just saying, man.
I was cleaning my snowshoes. I wasn't even close.
Oh, oh, man. That's good stuff. Good stuff. Oh. Oh, dude. Oh, you just made my night. You made my night. I'm going to... now, this one here, I mean, just take a couple of breaths before I get into this one next with you, okay?
All right.
All right. Hey, gorgeous Larry, how you doing, man? Hi, Shar. Good to see you. And who I know I'm forgetting someone here. Where are you? Scrolling through the chat room. Damn it. I can't find you right now. You were just in here. Well, I apologize if I haven't mentioned your name. I apologize. Thank you to Emily, to Jen A, to TH, to Fapster, to Lee, and wrong mouse. And for the super chats already tonight. Here we go.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. My name is Dave Scott. How y'all doing out there? Thank you for tuning us in. Want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot, reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, and so much more. We say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. What do you got for us tonight, Clam? Bandicoot. Bandicoot is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. From UFOcop.com, Strange Days with Butch Witkowski continues, and Butch is on fire tonight. Literally on fire. He had to go check his heart rate, people, in order to do hour number 2. He's so wound up tonight. And Butch, we're going to continue that right now with you, all right, because for some reason the audience loves it when you are wound up, because you tell it the way it is and the way it should be, my friend. Thank you for coming on.
Oh, I always like coming on. You know that.
I know. Okay, tomorrow night on the show, I am going to have Luis Elizondo. It's the first time that I have the opportunity to interview anyone from the TTSA, whether the current staff or former, and I'm looking forward to it. I really am, because we're going to try and get some answers out of him, and hopefully he will be able to speak a little bit about the questions that we want answered. And we want a lot of answers, Butch. I got to ask you this. All right, there is a great debate in the UFO field right now between UFOs and aliens. All of the last 3 years, we are supposed to segregate UFOs from aliens. We don't know what the craft are, therefore we're not supposed to mention the word aliens. Can we realistically do that, Butch?
Well, yeah, why not? I mean, they are alien. There's nobody that's proved that they're from this Earth. There's a lot of conjecture and a lot of basic evidence that somebody was here. A lot of the stuff that was done over the past, there's no way that the people living in that era could do what they did. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
You don't have a problem with separating the two?
Well, that's a yes or no. I don't want to be vague on that, but, there are things that have cropped up over the years of UFO investigation that make no sense whatsoever. I mean, we couldn't do it today, some of the things that have taken place. And then you have, entities, sightings that can't be debunked. They've tried, but they can't. There have been flaps that were just unbelievable photographs. Today you had a report of an Airbus flying from at 36,000 feet. He calls into the tower and says that something high speed, looked like a cruise missile, moving really fast over the top of his Airbus A320. So, years ago, if a pilot mentioned the word UFO, he was gone. Now it's a little different. That genre of quietness and keep your mouth shut has gone by the wayside. But it never ceases to amaze me. The government has been involved in this for so long, and people are just going, just now, in this time, in this day and age, you're just going like, you really think they know something about this? Yeah, I do. They always did. It's like I've always said I got 12 books in my library on the Roswell incident. Which one do I believe? Everybody's got their own story. There are a handful of investigators that I take them as being actually looking for what they're looking for. And they're still at it, even though that's 1947. That's, 74 years ago? So we have one group that says it never happened. Another group said there were more than one crash. And another group is saying Roswell was what it was, period, end of story. But then, as in all things paranormal, and I'm one of those that believes that it's all connected, UFOs, paranormal, cryptids, the whole nine yards. All to me, it's all the same thing. So, 3 days ago, was it? You can tell when a certain group of investigators gets bored. I'm going to go off again. Bigfoot community. When they couldn't find anything for 50 plus years, they said Bigfoot was dimensional. And when nobody really took to that, they said bidimensional. Then it came out with tridimensional, which is 3D. Yesterday, they came out with quad-dimensional. I have no idea what that means. I mean, dimensional might, but what are you talking about? So you got Bigfoot who's dimensional, bidimensional, tridimensional, and quad-dimensional. So basically you're telling me you have no clue of what you're doing or where you're going or what you're looking at. You're not listening to people that have had actual sightings. And that's where you're going to get your best information. Those are the people you want to talk to. I don't want to talk to somebody that read a book and says, that's nonsense. you know? So you have so many people that want to say that they have the answer. They don't have squat. Period. End of story. If they had all that, we'd be a hell of a lot further than what we are in our investigations of the cryptids of any type. From sea monsters to flying whatevers, pterodactyls. It just makes me crazy. The only reason I ever stuck with the bipedal canine in my research, and still at it, is because out of 59 reports, 59, not one is any different. Number 59 is no different from number 1, and everything in between. Exact same manners, exact same sight, exact same actions, exact same size, color, shape, mannerisms. Everything was identical, and I don't care where it was, in the state parks, or there was one on the other side of the mountain here. You know, this guy didn't even know what a werewolf was. He said he just wanted to know what he saw. And when he started describing it, I knew what he saw. So, and then when you go back in time, which every good investigator should always do, I stress that all the time, you need to go back in time, do your research, go backwards. See if there's anything that what you have now either occurred or was seen way back. I came up with one from the 1800s. Identical. The report is identical to my last report. So with UFOs, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, the first, what was, I may be wrong on this, but I think it was 1872, when the first photograph was taken of a UFO. That's crazy. And then you have these people that kill me when they stand up there and they say, this is all nonsense, it never happened, it's never going to happen, we're here by ourselves. And anybody believes that we're in this universe by ourselves, our lonely little selves, and we're the smartest thing that ever came down the pike, they really need to take a drink. They really do. Because they're the ones that cause the giggle factor. You know, the woo factor is one thing. The giggle factor is totally another thing. And the giggle factor is basically telling you you're full of crap. Or you're lying. Or you're just out for the love and money and fame and fortune and all that stuff. It's nuts. It really is. The dialogue thing will set me off. Bipedal thing will set me off. 500 dead people with no police reports or autopsy. Give me a break. Here we go again. Why? Why does somebody got to feel that they need to engage all these folks that either listen to them or read their books, that what they're saying is actual fact? How many people actually know that Stanton Friedman, the grandfather, godfather, whatever you want to call him, of ufology, never saw a UFO in his life? And I got that right out of his mouth at a conference. And he'll tell you straight up. It's in his book. He never saw a UFO. He wouldn't know a UFO if it hit him in the butt. So, I can't think of the other guy's name, but there's another guy who wrote a book on how to investigate UFOs. On the last page of his book, he says that, you know, he wished he could put more in, but he never saw a UFO. Okay, so you never saw a UFO, but you just wrote a book telling people how to investigate a UFO. How does that work? I mean, we've gone out in the snow, the rain, the mud, the muck, the water, the heat, and whatever. Traveled from here to there and back and forth all over the states. And I've seen what I've seen. I was never alone when I saw a UFO. And most of the people I know that have seen Bigfoot were not alone. Out of my 59 bipedal cases, there's only like a handful that were by themselves. So I'm more apt to believe people that were with somebody or doing something with their investigation or their research where they got that once-in-a-lifetime shot at seeing something. And I won't ever call investigator or researcher or witness a liar. That's just not in my genre. I may roll my eyes. I may get in my truck and start down the road and go like, oh my God. But it's just the way it is. And, you know, I just keep telling people, do it the right way. If you have a problem, if you don't know where to go from step 1 and you want to get to step 5, contact me. I'll put you in contact with somebody, or I'll help you myself and put you on the right road. But, you know, just don't sit there and because you don't know, you're going to make it up, or you're going to come up with tri-dimensional, quad-dimensional, 3D dimensional. Give me a break. I don't want to hear dimensional. I want to see the sucker. I want to talk to somebody that's actually seen one, that's doing research, that, you know, they're never going to forget it. And you're going to know they're not lying. I mean, that's a fact. I mean, somebody starts stuttering about what they saw, you know, you can tell right off the top they're just blowing smoke. But I don't know. I think there's a lot of damage has been done over the years with conferences, because the same people have been talking at the same conferences as far back as I can remember. And
yeah, but
they don't change.
Butch, there's no accountability in this field.
No.
If you want to be a scientist, boom, you're a scientist because you can just write it up. If you want to be a journalist, boom, you just write it up that I'm a journalist now because I've written a blog. You know, if you want to be anything in this field, you can be that.
One of the things that always killed me was when, and people I know, people I've watched from where they started to where they are today, and all of a sudden, under their name or you know, when they send out an email, it says cryptozoologist. Really? What school did you go to? What degrees do you have? Clue me in. What do you do for a living? Oh, you're a sewer pipe cleaner. Aha. But you're a cryptozoologist. And I'm not saying a sewer pipe cleaner can't be a cryptozoologist, but you better have some backup on that. And, you know, the whole thing of Fortean research is that you have, the field is inundated with wannabes and fortune seekers. People really think they're going to make a fortune. You know, I've been asked 1,000 times, when are you going to write a book? Ain't going to happen. I'm not writing any book. Ain't going to be no book. Ain't going to be nothing. Maybe a poster of me and a set of skivvies or something, but no book.
Would you show some leg on the cover?
Oh yeah, a little bit.
Okay, good.
I kind of hairy legs, so I got to watch out for Biden. But anyway, you have so many people out there that are honest and good researchers. They make sense. If they don't know something, they'll ask. They just don't want to go off and, you know, running down the block screaming Bigfoot or UFO or whatever. And, you know, I love the pictures that they put in their books where, you know, they're out in the field, right? They got a cigar in their mouth, no binoculars, no camera, really nice clothes, spent a lot of money probably at, you know, one of the clothing places, but that's crazy. All I ever wanted to deal with was people that really wanted to find out the truth. And, you know, without evidence, there is no truth. I mean, people can sit there and tell you stuff, and I've spent more time listening to people on the telephone or at a conference where I just started to get a headache and had to walk out. But that's just me. I guess I'm a little weird when it comes to this stuff. I just, from day one, I just wanted to know the truth. I don't want to hear a story.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
But what about the one thing that I think does this entire field a disservice, and I'll get your opinion on this, all right, is the fact that we're conducting a lot of opinion. We're not conducting a lot of research. You take the Bigfoot field. There's people out there who believe we're dealing with the North American monkey. There's people who believe that we're dealing with the great ape or dealing with Gigantopithecus or anything, and they're shutting down areas where we can't even go yet. I mean, even with the paranormal. I mean, you can get some Class A evidence on video, and there will be somebody saying, well, can't you see the string there? And there was no string. There's always somebody there to shoot down evidence because they want or don't want somebody to get a leg up on them.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, we get contacted by a lot of researchers, whether it's to look at photographs or put them in the right direction or tell them where to find something, or, maybe something that we did in the past that they were interested in. We'll send them a copy. I mean, I get stuff from England, Germany, France, Poland, Spain. I just got an envelope here from England the other day. I didn't even open it up yet, and it's got a thumb drive in. I don't even know what's on it. I just didn't get to it yet. But it makes me feel good that what I'm telling people over all these years is the way I really feel about it. I mean, I think some of these people are so blindsided by TV and some of the books that are out there, which are pure nonsense. I don't know. It's disheartening sometimes. I try not to think that way. And I think that in the end, it'll be good researchers that come up with the information or the evidence that's needed to prove something, no matter what field it's in. But it's really weird that some researchers really believe that the way they're going about it is the right way to do it, and it's not. I mean, I read one report where the guy gave, this is his report that he made public, the witness's name, address, phone number, called him a liar, threatened to sue him for misinformation. I mean, it just went on and on and on. That I actually just severed all relations with the guy, and I knew him for many years. I just said, this is wrong. You were wrong. This isn't the way it's done. How do you know that he was not telling the truth? And he had no answer for that. He just didn't like the guy. Period. He just didn't like the guy. So he dimed him out. I would never share that information with anybody, and never have. I mean, it might be here in my file, or it might be on a protected hard drive with that information. But I would never, ever share that information with anybody of a witness's name, address, phone number, etc. But there's people out there that do it, and they think they're making themselves step up 1 or 2 or 3 steps by doing that. Wrong.
Yeah, you don't give out somebody's personal information. That is for sure. That is completely, I mean, that is so amateur that it's kind of disgusting that that's even happened. But, Butch, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Strange Days with Butch Witkowski happens near the end of every month here on Spaced Out Radio, where we bring in Mr. Witkowski from UFOcop.com, and we talk about the strange, weird subjects of the day, of the month. Butch is wound up tonight. We'll see if we can keep that going right here on Spaced Out Radio. I tell you, I'd hate to be your pillow later. You're going to be punching the shit out of it. Hi, D. Swagger. How are you? Dolly, thank you for that amazing super chat. Much love, my friend. Mwah, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, Butch, I just got to do my little promo here because it is that time of the night where we try and figure out which beard oil to use from Mighty Moose Beard Oil and MightyMooseBeard.com. I've got the winter blend. I've got the original. I'm going to leave it to you guys in the chat room on YouTube. Which one do I use? Help me out here. Help me out. Because my beard needs it. Now, Dirty Filth says the original. But the winter blend smells very pepperminty. Feels good. All right, let's go with the original. First two are original. So all you do is, you take that, right, like that, and, throw a few drips on the old hand like that. You rub it together and then just massage it in. That's it. That's all you do is just massage it in, people. My beard feels great. Remember, this is all in Canadian dollars. Mighty Moose Beard, Gary the Dutchman. You never get a deal from a Dutchman, but Gary the Dutchman, if you use the promo code SOR 2019, he's going to give you a deal. And then, ladies, it's great for your hair. It's great for your hair. It helps with split ends, keeps the natural oils in your hair, enhances them a little bit. That's it. That's it. Just like that. It's all natural. No, it is not made of moose. But if you go to MightyMooseBeard.com, use promo code SOR 2019, Gary the Dutchman's going to give you a deal. And you're going to do awesome. So make sure you check it on out today. MightyMooseBeard.com. All right, I'm done. Feel great now. My beard feels just wonderful. Nice and smooth. Should try some on your leg hair there, Butch. Hey, Delta 8, how are you? We've got like 3 minutes, dude.
Then I shall fill my iced tea.
I got some iced tea going right now here, too. Yeah, my beard smells great now. Thanks, Gary the Dutchman. Hey, brother Eugene, how you doing, man? Love it when you're here. Love it. Hey, Corn's the booking guy. Let's get Brother Eugene back on the show if we have any days in March, because it's been a long time since I've had Eugene on talking about near-death studies. And I'd like to get him back on because he's just amazing. Just amazing. That would be great if we could. Eugene Braxton, right above you in your comment for Brother Eugene. All right, big thank you to Dolly, Emily, a.k.a. Alaska's greatest athlete, Jenny, T.H., Fabster, and Major Lee for the amazing super chats tonight. Thank you for taking good care of this show. We really do appreciate the love that you give us. And, thank you to everyone who's new, who's hit that subscribe button. We are trying to get to 15,000 subscribers before May 24th, which is my birthday. Hey, Noble Patrick, how are you? And let's try it. Hit that thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways, ring that bell, and, we're like a telethon. Where are we going? Higher! Where are we going? Higher! All right, 5 seconds till Butch is back. I'll shut up now.
I'm back.
We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate all of you tuning on in. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. Remember, you can check out our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Butch, I want to ask you something as we bring Butch Witkowski back in for Strange Days. His website, uforcop.com. I had a conversation with someone last week who believes that Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call him, here in North America, is a very deadly creature, and we should not be approaching this creature at all because it will likely tear our arms off and eat us, or be kind of mean, even if you do bring it a treat. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, I read a lot of reports on it. Never read a report where somebody was attacked or killed. I don't know. I just don't see it happening. It's kind of bizarre. I mean, with all the thousands of sightings that have gone on over the years, that there hasn't been an attack of some sort, or like you said, somebody got their arms ripped off. Most of the fatalities that have happened in wooded areas have been done by bears or mountain lion. I don't know if they'd go out of their way. I really don't. I mean, they're very elusive, as everybody knows. I mean, if they make themselves known and you get to see them up close and personal, it's not like they charge you. I mean, they throw rocks, but that's basically to scare you out of the area, from what I read. But I just don't. I just saw in the chat here about the trappers back in 1800s. There are a couple guys that have researched that. I mean, they really went into that and dug into that case, and they came up with a bear, grizzly. The dogs that were wounded had definitely, been struck by grizzly. And the guy that was just meleeed all over. A bear will kill you, but a bear will eat you too. So I really haven't heard or seen any reports of a verified death. Not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying I never saw any. But a lot of those reports came back, or as you went deeper into them, it was either a grizzly or, some type of bear or mountain lion. But I don't know. I just, there's reports are very sketchy. For the amount of people that say they've seen or tracked or heard or whatever, Bigfoot or anything else out in the woods, the reports are kind of mundane. They make the description, how it acted, whatever. I mean, even with the bipedal, we've only ever had one case where, actually two cases where the person was actually approached and growled at, and that was it. It was a growl and they left. But I think the handful of people that have really seen one, they probably have fear, of course. I mean, something standing in front of you or close by that's that size and looking the way it does. I know I'd have fear, but I just don't see. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I think some of these stories or reports tend to be embellished a lot. I know one guy that he's been gifting at the same location for damn near 20 years now. Sometimes it works. Most times it doesn't. But it's those few times that it has worked that makes him a true believer. So he'll probably be doing that till he croaks. But, you have to take every report with a grain of salt. You're talking to somebody that you're probably never ever going to meet. They probably live on the other side of the friggin' world. And you've got to, in your mind, try to see where they're coming from. Do you know what I mean? Kind of strange, but that's kind of the best way I could put it. You just really have to get a feel for the person you're talking to. And, it's just the way it is. I mean, you're dealing with something that could be of this earth or could not be of this earth. Who knows? But until there is a body found, I just don't see it getting much further than it already is.
Yes, we have people who have claimed to have felt a lot of fear. Obviously, with any type of society, we see this with animals, whether it's lions, whales, anything. There is always the rogue pod or the rogue animals that were maybe kicked out of their groups that just seem to be very angry and disconnected and disenchanted with everything around them. Could we have those segregations of Sasquatch as well?
Sure. Why not? I mean, it happens in all in the whole animal kingdom. You could have a lion give birth to a couple cubs and they'll keep one and abandon the other or eat it. So, yeah, I believe that they are more in tune to living their life their way in their areas without us. And they've done it for a long, long time. They don't need us for anything. And we just have this inescapable thing inside of us that we have to know. We have to see how they live. Do they migrate? Are there males and females? Well, give me a break. I mean, it's just some of the simplest things. It's just kind of weird that people want to make them more human-like in their actions than they are. And I don't believe it's a monkey or ape of any type. And for all that we know, it's just like I heard one researcher say it one time, and I really thought about it all the way home from the conference, where he said, just suppose it, or, just throw this out, just to throw it out there, what if they're just from our past? They crossed that divide from Russia to the North American continent, and they've been around ever since. And they've developed into what they are. So now you're pretty much talking about a Neanderthal or some variation of it. It doesn't, although there are a lot of stories out there, it doesn't kidnap people. It doesn't eat people. There's never been any reports with any validity that has ever taken place. It's like an enigma, I would sooner think, just from the type of reports from the past up until now, that you'd probably have a better chance of being attacked by a dogman or bipedal canine than you would a Bigfoot.
Okay. Let's get to a couple of audience questions here. Gone Squatchin' has asked, Butch, have you heard of any reports from Erie County, Pennsylvania, where Bigfoot-type creatures have acted aggressively or screamed at people?
Yeah. I might be a little off on time on this, but it was either 6 or 7 years ago. Two families were camping in Erie County. I can't remember the exact location, but it was a campground. It was early in the season, so there weren't many people there. And they were just meandering around the woods. As a matter of fact, they were looking for mushrooms. Kind of strange at that time of year, but they seen or heard something running through the bush, best of my recollection. And they started, yelling at it to stop and, hey, you, where are, all that kind of stuff, trying to get his attention. And it stopped and turned around and just started screaming at him. And they booked. But that was in Erie County. I'm going to say it wasn't in Presque Isle, but it was close to Presque Isle. There's a campground close to Presque Isle where that took place. It is on the internet. You can find it.
All right. Next question comes from Justin, who is asking, Butch, what do you think then of the Ape Canyon incident with the prospectors at Mount St. Helens in Washington State?
There have been a lot of reports in that area. I mean, a lot more than people think. So, what they could be talking about and what that they saw or whatever, took place could have happened because of just the sheer number of reports in that area. I mean, there's hundreds of them in that area. That's why it's called Ape Canyon.
That area, though, didn't it get quite wiped out during the Mount St. Helens eruption 40 years ago?
Well, yeah and no, because the only thing that really came out of the Mount St. Helens thing, as far as Bigfoot was concerned, was that one was found burned and injured, and the military came in, and nobody knows if that's true or not. The military came in and took it away in a helicopter to treat it, and it's now in the custody of the government. But, that's, I don't know. There's no way of proving that happened, unless somebody videoed it. But that didn't happen either. And there's the excuse that always comes up when you try to dig further into reports like that is where the famous line comes out like, well, if we tell you, we'd have to kill you. Or you can't talk about this, or I'm going to make your whole family disappear. That kind of stuff. The men in black with the UFOs and the military with all other types of creatures. But I'm going to say this. I've told this story on the show before, probably a couple years back. there was a report by a group of Bigfoot investigators here in the state of Pennsylvania. I know them all. They're good guys. They're not BSers. They're out there doing their thing. They've been doing it for a long, long time. And they were in their research area, and it was at night, and they heard something walking through the woods, and they stopped, and out of the woods comes a military, camouflage-dressed MP4 rifle, night vision goggles, the whole combat outfit, for real. They're looking at him. He's looking at them. They don't know what to say, and the words that come out of his mouth is, "Oh, just hunting bear." I don't know of anybody that hunts bear with an MP4 machine gun or would dress in camouflage and night vision goggles and all the other combat stuff. I just don't see that happening. So they swear and declare that's what happened. And the guy just said, like, good night, and just kind of walked off. So what does that tell you?
That I have no idea. Greg has a question for you. Have you ever encountered a Men in Black type organization?
No.
Do you think that group exists?
Oh, it's possible. I mean, everybody thinks it's the Army, and the top-notch, super secret, super duper guys is actually the U.S. Navy. And is it possible that, you got a visit from somebody? Yeah, I don't know about Men in Black. Could have just been a couple guys telling you to shut up or mind your own business or whatever. But the only guy I ever knew of or know of that said that he actually encountered them and got a picture of one was Buckley. So, don't know. I've never encountered any. Oh, I had a phone call one time, told me to get off a case, but that was when I was doing a lot of the human mutilation stuff.
What's that like to receive that phone call?
It was kind of weird because, the number didn't come up on my phone. It just said wireless caller. And when I answered, it was just nothing angry or yelling or anything like that. It just said that be best if I didn't get involved in those type of investigations. So who was it or where were they from? I have no idea. So they just hung up and that was the end of it.
Armando is asking, why no Bigfoot remains, skeletons, or droppings? Why do tracks stop suddenly?
My thing was, why is it always a right foot and why is there only ever one?
True.
I have no answer for that. I mean, it's just, when you mention that to one of these real Bigfoot hunters, first thing they say is, well, they're interdimensional, so they can just, if they see you, they can take a step or two and they're gone. I'm more interested in the bright white light theory, where there are a lot of reports, well, under 100, but there's still a lot of them, where people see a bright white flash of light in a wooded area, and then they see a Bigfoot, or the opposite, they see a Bigfoot, and there's a bright light, flash of light, and they're gone. I'd like to delve more into that, but...
A lot of people also claim to see these orbs, daylight, nightlight, or nighttime, pardon me, these blue orbs around the forest. Have you looked into that?
Yeah, the closest we came to that was last summer. Myself and another guy went down to a state park that's close to where I used to live in Lancaster County. And it was, I mean, I had Lon Strickler with me. I had his son with me and another guy. And we watched this blue light in the woods that just, it was nuts. It would go on, then it would go off. So I actually got in my truck and drove up that road, and I could see, because it was two open fields. It was a field, a farm, a field, open road, and another open field. So I could keep my eye on the light the whole time. I drove right up to that spot. I could look over, and through my binoculars, I could see Lon and those guys looking at me through binoculars. And I'm standing right there. And I'm on the radio saying, hey, am I in the right spot? And I go, yeah, it's there. We see it. I didn't see anything. No, it's right there. So what's that all about? And that was a blue light, like an orb. It looked like a blue orb. And it was in a wooded area. Matter of fact, it was at the base of a big power line.
The Ronald Penton wants to know, as we got about 3.5 minutes before we go to break at the top of the hour, Butch.
Okay.
At Dyatlov Pass, what would make them go through the sides of the tent and never unzip the door?
There was no zipper on the door. It was one of those old canvas military-type deals where you just had ties. You know, you tie two ends together, make a knot or whatever, make a bow tie or whatever, and to close the doors. They just overlapped with ties. There was no zippers on that tent. It was canvas. It was a very heavy canvas. It was probably military surplus. But and you could see that in the cut, the way it was cut and stuff, and the way it had weathered. So, but there was no zipper on the tent. There was only one entrance, and that was looking at the tent from where they cut out. It was on the left-hand side. There was no entrance on the other end.
Getting back to Bigfoot.
Yeah.
How do we process whether or not this creature is from here? Because there's a lot of outlandish reports out there, theories that it's from another planet, from Mars, from Mondak that blew up, from all over the universe.
Yeah.
Is that just too far-fetched?
I think, my opinion, they've been around a long. There's a lot of stuff that's been out there for a long, long, long time. I mean, you mentioned Gigantopithecus a little bit ago. Nobody believed that there was any type of a creature that could have been that tall or that big until they, found the teeth. Lower jawbone, was it, I think? So, I mean, they discover new things every day. I mean, new creatures that were thought to be extinct. There was just a fish that was caught that was supposed to be extinct 4 million years ago, and the guy caught one. So, with nature, anything can go. I've heard the stories of Bigfoot being seen flying a saucer, being walked by an alien on a leash like it was a dog, like a pet. So once you sift through the nonsense, maybe we'll come up with an answer sooner or later. But I'm more apt to believe the people had the on-site sightings.
You do believe, though, that we are still looking for something that, creatively speaking, may not be from here, though. Or maybe from here, but just has some variance of power.
Yes. Yes.
Well, that's nice to know. It's nice to know. When we come back, Butch, let's get into some strange cases you've been working on recently, because we have Butch Witkowski for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio before we get to the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Dave. Man, Butch has been fired up tonight. If you've been wondering where Butch's crankiness has been Oh, he's unleashed it tonight, and we love him for it. That's why we bring him on once a month here for Strange Days on Spaced Out Radio. More with Butch Witkowski in Hour 3, next on the Mighty SOR. Not bad. 164 right now, man. 165.
Cool.
I'll be right back, okay?
Okay.
Why not get bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spicing up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightlines Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines report on the Spaced Out Radio website and let's figure out what's going on together.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother Is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother Is Watching.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking...
All right, Super Butch.
Yes, sir.
What's happening? Hey, Knucker. How you doing, man? Hey, Looney. What's going on? Hey, Light Formed, welcome to our show. Tina Lunar, how are you? Okay, we've got 90 seconds, Butch.
Okay.
I want to say a big thank you to Dolly, Emily, Jenny, TH, Fapster, and Major Lee for those fantastic super chats tonight. It really helps out what we do on this show on a nightly basis. Thank you to everybody new tuning us in. Please hit that subscribe button as we are pushing for 15,000 listeners and subscribers by May 24th. Here we go.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Here we go, kicking off the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears, especially those listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club, Bandicoot. Bandicoot is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight from UFOcop.com, we bring in Butch Witkowski. Butch joins us near the end of each month for Strange Days, where we get into everything weird, strange, and obscure about the month that was. Butch, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure, sir. My pleasure.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to have you here. Now, even though we're still, for the most part, locked down from going into places, what are some of the strange stories that you are getting in reports from people these days?
Well, they kind of run the whole gamut. A couple UFO reports when we had clear nights, but we haven't had too many of those because we've had a lot of snow over the last week and a half. We're going to have some more tomorrow, so sky watching is kind of out of the question. And a lot of the reports that we get on UFOs are mainly from the tri-state area, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, that kind of in that area there. We have two right now. Well, I don't know what I got from England. I got some stuff there from England to go over. But it's been kind of slow. And I think a lot of it has to do with the virus, you know, people not being able to go out and not going out, staying in, everything locked down. So I was just talking to Lon about it this morning. He's the same way. He says he's not getting anything in reports. So I guess when the weather clears, which is supposed to happen, we'll see what's going on.
Butch, for the reports that people, who are pretty much predominantly spending time in their own home, are we seeing an increase in paranormal activity rather than UFOs and cryptids?
I would say more UFO activity. Yeah, more UFO activity. A lot of it is around the New York state line, northern Pennsylvania, way north Pennsylvania, and southern New York State. But that's always New York State. Southern New York State's always been a hot spot anyway for UFOs.
What do you think the difference is between other years and what we're seeing this year with UFOs?
I really believe it's people aren't getting out. I haven't seen advertised a Skywatch in 8-10 months. The last one I saw. I really just think it's because people were locked down. They got other things to worry about. Pretty much staying at home inside with rotten weather, and it'll change. It always does. We've had years like this before where, it's just nice and quiet, and then when you get all used to the quiet, then all hell breaks loose.
Well, that's why I'm wondering why there isn't more paranormal stories and ghost stories going on right now.
I really don't have an answer for that other than the fact that, even the paranormal shows that are on TV, they're all reruns from last year and the year before. Nothing new. I mean, how many shows can you watch about the Northeastern Penitentiary? I mean, there's one of those on a week. But,
Jenny is asking if you've heard any of these stories out of Pennsylvania regarding the giant broadtop snake.
I'm assuming she's mentioning the one from the circus train wreck that got away. It goes back a while, but the story goes, but there was a train wreck and a number of people were killed. And it was a circus train, and a bunch of animals got loose. Couple lions, couple monkeys, and a giant snake. I think. Yeah. I believe it was some type of boa constrictor.
Yeah, because I'm just kind of Googling it because I've never heard about it either. And apparently it's on Broadtop Mountain where large snakes have been spotted, wherever Broadtop Mountain is. And it's a serpent of indeterminate species, famous around areas such as Gettysburg, where it's been seen, in Huntingdon County.
Which is kind of funny because Huntingdon County and Gettysburg are nowhere near each other.
I just don't like snakes. That's just...
me neither. Nope. No, I have no use for them.
So basically, if you get a call about one of these broadtop snakes, you're going to be saying, yeah, find someone else to do that one.
No, I'm just going to say that I'm not allowed to be in the woods by myself and hang up.
Oh. Gee whiz. Not a fan of that. Butch, there's a story that just came out in the last 24, 48 hours about a UFO, and we talked about it briefly earlier, where a flight near Albuquerque was buzzed by one of these tic-tac type of objects. The pilots claimed that it looked more like a cruise, almost like a cruise missile that went right over their jet. We'll get more into that story when it comes to the news. But have these sightings with airliners or even commercial or private flights been going on that long, and we're just now hearing about them because pilots aren't afraid to report on them anymore? Or is this an uptick, you believe, in these close encounters?
Well, it's not been that many years ago that if you were a pilot making one of those reports, you lost your job. You were done. Because at that point they figured that you were mentally unfit to fly an aircraft. But that has changed over the years. I would say the biggest changes have been since the military has been showing gun camera footage, and private pilots, no problem, but pilots that are flying like that Airbus A320, he just wanted to know if there was any traffic up there with him. Did the radar have any targets up there? And the pilot said that, it flew right over, and he said it looked almost like a long cylindrical object. He said it almost looked like a cruise missile type of thing moving really fast right over the top of us. And he said at that point, his plane was traveling at 460 miles per hour. So those type of encounters are not strange. And he was at 36,000 feet, I believe. And he was right in the northeast corner of New Mexico, just west of Des Moines. And this happened yesterday. So, or day before yesterday. I got to remember my day here. So, and actually the radio transmission was picked up by a ham radio operator. So I guess more will come out on it, I'm sure.
Do you believe then that we're going to see more of these, and potentially, some pilots will fly with GoPros in the cockpit now? Do you think we're going to get some quality footage that may not be military, but actually commercial flights coming out over this?
Oh, yeah, that could be, sure. You got everybody sitting by a window's got a camera. I mean, look at that plane that lost the engine. I mean, there must have been 15 different videos of that engine. So, I mean, they even had people on the ground that were photographing the stuff falling out of the sky. Yeah, I think there'll be more. If there's decent sightings like that, there'll be plenty of footage. And it won't.
Go ahead.
And it won't just be military.
Couple of questions coming from our chat room. Delta 8 Wizard is asking, Butch, do you have any more info on the Mothman sightings of O'Hare Airport?
I believe there were 2 this past week. The one was seen a couple days ago, I believe it was, actually eating something along a road or pathway on the ground, and the other one was seen again over over O'Hare Airport by the terminal area. So we're still seeing them. I can't even wrap my head around that whole thing because there've been so many reports now, and I just don't know what they are. The descriptions that people are given are, it's pterodactyl. But then again, when something that high up in the sky, your vision can only determine so much as far as length, distance. So they could be looking at any type of large bird, and it would look like that. I honestly don't have an answer for that. It's just, like I said, I can't wrap my head around it because some are seen on the ground, some are in the sky. Two police officers in Chicago see one on top of a building, and there's just so much to it. And the guys that are on it out there, they have really been working their butts off. I mean, they've been at it. They're chasing them down. Most of the reports, from what I gather and what's shared with me, and the only little bit that I did for those folks in that investigation was I was looking at the underground Chicago to see if places they could hide. Well, there's like another city down there, but I'll tell you what, it's amazing. I wouldn't say Mothman with these things because the descriptions are totally different than Mothman. The no head, the bright red eyes. No, these people are seeing long beaks, long tails, reptilian type wings, no feathers, anything like that. So I don't know. I have no idea what they are, Dave. I really don't.
Let's move on to a question from Gone Squatchin'. Butch, have you considered monitoring power lines or gas lines in Pennsylvania as sort of Bigfoot highways, or if there is a correlation with sightings near power lines?
Yes, and yes. Clearfield County, where we had our first two bipedal events, gas lines were where we were set up. Gas lines were probably about a quarter mile away, and when you go up to those gas lines, I mean, it's like the highway. I mean, they just go on and on and on. It's clear. I mean, there's no bushes or anything. You can follow them to wherever they go, but they're all over the Chestnut Ridge. That's another place where gas lines are very dominant, and a lot of Bigfoot reports in that area. Lots.
What do you think is the attraction there?
I think you got. I'll just use Clearfield as an example. You got a clear walk. I mean, there's no obstruction. I mean, you just walk. You can walk on either side of the pipeline, and there's no bushes or obstructions of any type. At the bottom of the hill, there's a creek, so you got water. You're in one of the biggest deer-populated areas in the state, so there's food, there's water, there's unrestricted travel. So, yeah, I mean, it's everything they could want, I guess.
See, that surprises me. Okay, I can see deer foraging in those areas because there's a lot more grass than there is trees. I can see that. But for a creature like Sasquatch or more predatory creatures, cougars, bears, they only come out of the shadows when they are chasing food. So why would these Sasquatch be walking along power lines for areas for some reason?
Well, you got me there. I don't know. The only thing I can think of that, that it's just an unobstructed. I mean, it's like you're looking down a highway with a pipe in the middle of it, and you have waters close. I mean, at the bottom of the hill, there's a creek. There's a ravine. It used to be a railroad, but that washed out years ago in a flood. So that's another area of clear walking.
But hear me out on this for a second, Butch, because I know you and I have talked about this in the past, and I've talked about this with other researchers. Yet when you go into the mountains on logging roads, these creatures, or if you find footprints, you will rarely find footprints actually walking down the road. They're usually walking across it to get to the next trail. So this is where I'm a little confused.
Well, I think, the areas where these pipelines are populated. They're not out in the woods by themselves. I mean, where we were, there's a huge Boy Scout camp. I mean, huge. I don't know how many acres it is, but it's huge. There's buildings all over the place, and there's kids everywhere. But when you get to the top of that ridge where the pipeline is, that area of the Boy Scout camp kind of disappears. You come up over a hump, and there's the pipeline. But if you stopped and looked back, you wouldn't see the campground at all. So yes, they're in a wooded area. And another thing is, to get into the wooded area, all they got to do is take a couple steps left or right, and they're in the woods. I mean, it's not like it's as wide as a road. I mean, it's a pipe, and up on stanchions, and there's a walkway on one side, a walkway on the other. But if you get off of that walkway, that space between the woods and the pipe, you're back in the woods again. So really, they could walk down through there and be unobstructed, and if something came around or they heard something, they could just step to their right or left and be in the woods and vanish. And they're good at that.
That is true. They are very, very good at that. We only have about 4 minutes left, and I want to get to Armando's question. Do you believe that Bigfoot is psychic? But I'm going to add to that a little bit. Do you still, with everything you've learned about this creature, feel that it does have some sort of intuitive sense to communicate?
I'm going to give that a yes, only because people that have gone out, researchers that have gone out and have used vocalized calls, have gotten answers, replies, and that, to me, that's a form of communication. I mean, if just like going out and hunting turkey or duck or anything else, you call them in and they reply. The same thing with Bigfoot, the recordings that have been made, especially out in the Northwest and up in your area especially, where they've made recorded sounds from other areas, and there's a reply. And it's not just one reply and gone. I mean, they can keep it up for hours, and there's always a reply. So if that's their way of communication, that's what it is. It's some form of communication. And the people out there investigating stuff, they've tried everything. They've tried helicopters. They've tried drones. They've tried the voice recordings, traps, camera traps. I mean, they've tried everything. But one of the things that still bugs me a little bit is these guys, some of these researchers, and I'm not talking about just, somebody that does it on a week. I'm talking about people who do it all the time. And they go out there and they'll put up camera traps. And they'll go back a day or two or three, and it's destroyed. Now, who would do that?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, they're destroyed. It's like somebody just punched them out. They're gone, destroyed on the ground, or they're moved. Most of these camera traps, I mean, the trail cams, when you strap them in, or some of them you can bolt fast to the tree, and they're facing a certain direction, they come back a day or two later, and the thing is pointing the opposite direction or pointing up at the sky or down at the ground. And the straps are either broken or the bolts are broken. I just can't see anybody doing that.
Butch, with 1 minute to go here, before we have to say goodnight and goodbye to you once again for another month, what are you going to be working on here coming up in the next little bit?
I'm definitely going to be working on a Dyatlov case. That's one. And I have a whatever came from England on that. I don't know what it is, so I'll have to get on that. And I'm refiling some of my reports, because after so many years they become a jumbled mess. So I'm just kind of putting them in order, like all the UFOs, all the bipedals, all the paranormal, all this stuff. And that's probably what I'm going to be doing, because I can't do anything. I can't go outside. It's snow. I can't be stomping around in snow in my condition, like shoveling or anything like that. So I basically stay in the office, basically stay in the library and the kitchen.
Nice. Well, Butch,
sometimes I think my library is too close to the kitchen.
We all have that problem, not going to lie. Butch, once again, another show with you that has flown on by. We appreciate every moment that you were on this show. Thank you so much once again. Butch Witkowski, everyone. UFOcop.com is his website. If you got a report, you seen something weird, go to UFOcop.com. Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Is your ticker okay?
Yeah.
Well, just making sure you got a little worked up there. You know, we don't want you blowing a gasket here.
Oh, me neither. I'm putting in my email address in case anybody needs any info.
Sure. Go right ahead.
It's there.
There it is, everyone. Butch218 at DejaZZD.com. Boom. Just like that, you can get in touch with the man, the myth, and the legend all rolled into one. He's like your favorite candy bar, Butch Witkowski.
Okay, brother.
Head off to bed, my friend. Much love to you, okay?
I'm going to do that.
All right, don't forget to tune in tomorrow night.
I'll be on tomorrow night.
All right, brother. You take care.
See you later.
Right.
Bye.
Holy cow, he got worked up tonight. Wow. That was, you got to admit, that was impressive when Butch went haywire on Dyatlov Pass. It was awesome. Absolutely awesome. Pedro, man, I had a bad scare 2 days ago. Send me out a prayer or something. I heard a witch's laugh. Oh, wow. We have enough intuitive people in this room, Pedro, that are going to send you with some love and light, man, who can give you some protection on that. You know, I don't wish my ex-wife or my former mother-in-law around you at all. Not at all. Yeah, we got you covered here, Pedro. Don't you worry about that. The Jim Christie has given his approval to tonight's show with Butch. Saying, good show tonight, David Butch. The Jim Christie. Anytime, Pedro. That's what we're here for. We got you covered. We'll send you some nice protection there, man. I'm excited about getting Lou Elizondo on the show tomorrow. Not going to lie. I don't know if tomorrow night we will have time for audience questions. I will try and make time for you guys, but I mean, just so you know the rules. Make sure you put your questions in capital letters. And I will do my damnedest to try and sneak them in tomorrow night. But I know tomorrow night is going to fly on by. We have Lou for 2.5 hours. And hopefully, we could get some good stuff out of him. Corrins is right there. If you send pics of yourself in compromising positions with gnomes, Dave will be more likely to ask your questions. Very true, Corrins. Well, the Ronald Penton, I know that I agree with you. Sovereign Farts, liar. You don't want questions tomorrow. I said I will try to get them in. There's a lot he can't say. We have to try and figure out what he can say. I'm going to try and take tomorrow's interview in a completely different direction than what he's used to. What that is, you will have to find out tomorrow night by tuning on in. I think, what's our record? 241? 248? I think we could hit 300 tomorrow night. I really do. I would love to hit 300, to be honest with you. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, I plan on taking everybody, he's done about 15 podcasts and radio shows in the last few weeks. And I just want to ask him a bunch of different questions. The chances of me talking ATIP or OSAP are slim to none. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on the mighty SOR. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. We want to remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news, let's do this thing. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the close encounters. Oh yes, here we go. American Airlines Flight 2292, an Airbus A320 flying between Cincinnati and Phoenix just a couple of days ago, had a bizarre close encounter with what its crew is describing as a long cylindrical object that almost looked like a cruise missile, moving extremely fast over the top of their aircraft as it cruised along at 36,000 feet and 400 knots. The incident occurred over the remote northeastern corner of New Mexico. According to around the tiny town of Des Moines, Steve Douglas, an experienced radio interceptor and the proprietor of Deep Black Horizon, mentioned to the War Zone that he was recording from his arsenal of scanners when he heard the strange transmission. The War Zone, who we got this report from, has reviewed over an hour of audio that Douglas has provided from before and after the strange radio call. We are working to authenticate it, they say, from the FAA and get further information. And they've also reached out to American Airlines. So this is what is said. Approximately 1:19, that would be Central Time, on the Albuquerque Center frequency, the pilot reported, "Do you have any targets up here? We just had something go right over the top of us. I hate to say it, but it looked like a long cylindrical object that almost looked like a cruise missile type of thing, moving really fast over the top of us." Now, according to Flight 24 and Flight Aware, AAL 2292 was over the northeastern corner of New Mexico, and it was reported back that there was no significant military aircraft presence that was noted in the logs. The aircraft flew on to land in Phoenix. Now, Steve, who got the recording, and you can listen to it by going to thedrive.com, he he said the incident is very similar to one that occurred in the same region almost exactly 3 years ago. During that encounter, a Learjet and an Airbus both had consecutive close encounters with an unidentified object that flew over the top of them while cruising at around 37,000 feet over eastern Arizona. Later, the highly experienced Learjet pilot, which was flying for military contractor Phoenix Air, described just how strange the occurrence was. His description is somewhat similar to another odd encounter they reported off the coast of Long Island. You know, these all sound like those Tic Tacs that was reported by the U.S. Navy. The description of the missile-like object also fits with the U.S. fighter pilots, of course, and the Tic Tac. And, you know, this just gets weirder and weirder, that this is getting closer and closer. Are they trying to make contact? Are these aliens trying to make contact? Or what do you think they're doing? What do you think they are doing? It's getting real close. Real close. It almost feels like there's something brewing. You know what I'm saying? You know when you just feel that you are going to hit the jackpot on something or something good is going to happen? Yeah. That's what I think. All right. You know, if you live in northern Canada, you know this issue all too well. But there's something strange with Canadians' butter supply. And writer, cookbook author Julie Van Rosendahl wants to get to the bottom of it. Because butter is no longer soft at room temperature up here. Hey, go figure. Trust me, you try cutting into some butter these days. I got some in my cupboard right now. I got to melt the thing at 8 seconds in my microwave just to be able to lather it on some bread. More than 200 people responded to Van Rosendahl, and a lot of them expressed similar concerns about the meltability, spreadability, and overall butterability of this essential ingredient. Van Rosendahl kept her word about investigating it, and her concern seems to have prompted a lot of follow-up questions as she's prompted dozens of other Canadians to look in their fridge to see what's happening with their own sticks of butter. Well, Van Rosendahl hypothesized that increased pandemic-era demand and supply chain disruptions could have affected the kind and composition of livestock feed. Some industry experts have suggested that farmers could be adding palm fats to the feed, which increases the amount of fat in the resulting milk and cream, explaining the effect of these highly palmitic acid content fats on cows' milk is quite complicated. And of course, Sylvain Charlebois, Senior Director of Dalhousie University Agri-Foods Analytics, says that adding palm fats to the cow's feedable was a plausible explanation for the harder butter that is going crazy. Seriously, I thought it was just that I moved north. I thought it was the climate up here, because it is different. But this may be a big thing. Honestly, our butter sucks. You know? You almost need some of that American, I cannot believe it's not butter. And it doesn't matter if you get margarine either. That's hard up here too. The great butter caper in Canada. This is what we are dealing with during a pandemic up here, people. Never mind the toilet paper. Never mind stealing all the milk or the meat or the ice cream. We are dealing with some severe butter problems up here. You don't know what it's like. You go to smear it on your slice of bread, and the bread rips every time. Then you got to throw that piece out because it isn't going to hold anything now. It's ruined, that piece. Now you have an odd number of pieces in your loaf of bread. It's horrific. Horrific. These are real-world problems here. Real-world problems. A Scottish woman bit off a part of a man's tongue in a wild street brawl, and a seagull promptly swooped down and gobbled it up. 27-year-old Bethany Ryan clashed with a stranger named James McKenzie, sparking an argument in Edinburgh on August 1st, 2019, according to the prosecutor. After Mackenzie walked towards Ryan with a clenched fist, she inexplicably kissed him, then chomped off a 3 by 2 centimeter piece of his tongue. According to prosecutor Susan Dixon, she kissed him on the lips during the course of that she bit his tongue, which caused a piece of his tongue to be removed. After he spat out the chunk of the organ, a bird swooped down, plucked it off the ground, and ate it, making reattachment surgery impossible, the prosecutor said. Mr. Mackenzie walked off and spat part of his tongue out, at which point the piece of the muscle caught the attention of that large seagull. He wasn't going to let that go. No, seagulls clean up everything. That's why they're good for the environment, even though they poop a lot. Mackenzie was treated for a laceration to his tongue after it began oozing blood. He did not require surgery, given the piece of tongue was no longer available and could not be reattached. Ryan, who was arrested, pleaded guilty to the assault. According to her lawyers, it wasn't immediately clear what prompted the argument between her and Mackenzie. So in other words, if you get in an argument with a complete stranger, don't kiss them because it's likely they'll gnaw your tongue off. All right. Authorities in Cincinnati, Ohio, discovered a shipment that had a whopping 44 pounds of cocaine-coated cornflakes inside. Yes, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, the agency's canine BECO, alerted the officers about the shipment on February 13th. The release said the shipment was on its way to a private residence in Hong Kong from Peru. When officers opened the box to take a closer look, they saw that the cereal contained white powder, and the flakes were coated with a grayish substance. Officers tested the flakes and powder and found it was all laced with cocaine. According to the newswire that was sent out, the shipment street value was worth more than $2.8 million. That's a lot of cereal. The men and women at the Port of Cincinnati are committed to stopping the flow of dangerous drugs, and they continue to use their training, intuition, and strategic skills to prevent these kinds of illegal shipments from reaching the public, the port said. Well, they protected us on that one. And now many are out of breakfast cereal as well, so I'm sure we'll see a rising cost in that. Japan has appointed a minister of loneliness to try and take and reduce loneliness and social isolation among its residents as the country deals with rising suicide rates. Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga appointed Tetsushi Sakamoto, who is already a minister in charge of dealing with Japan's declining birth rate and promoting regional revitalization, to oversee government policies to deal with loneliness and isolation. Earlier this month, Prime Minister Suga chose Sakamoto as his Minister for Economic Revitalization when he was elected in September 2020. Women are suffering from isolation more than men are, and the number of suicides is on a rising trend. I hope you will identify problems and promote policy measure comprehensively, the Prime Minister said. Loneliness has long been an issue in Japan, often discussed alongside hikikomori, or people who live in extreme social isolation. People have worked to create a far-ranging solutions to this issue. Engineers in Japan previously designed a robot to hold someone's hand when they are lonely, and one man charges people to do nothing except keep them company. During the COVID-19 pandemic, where people were more socially isolated than ever, Japan saw a rise in suicides for the first time in 11 years. In October, more people died from suicide than had died from COVID-19. There were 2,153 suicide deaths last month and 1,765 virus deaths. That was up to the end of October. Wow. That's a lot. Women in Japan, in particular, have contributed to the uptick in suicides. In October, 879 women died by suicide in Japan, a 70% increase compared to the same month in 2019. More and more single women live alone in Japan, but many of them don't have stable employment, Michiko Ueda said. He's a Japanese professor who studies suicide in Japan. A lot of women are not married anymore. They have to support their own lives, and they don't have permanent job. So when something happens, of course, they are hit very, very hard. Japan's new loneliness minister said that he plans to hold an emergency forum in late February to hear concerns from people dealing with loneliness and isolation. Marlies Vandermeer is a South African woman who recently killed a giraffe and posed with its heart on Facebook. Oh, isn't she a romantic? The hunt was a gift for Valentine's Day from the woman's husband, hopeless romantic Gerhard Neal. According to the reports, Vandermeer has been hunting since childhood and had been looking for a big black giraffe bull to kill for some years because, giraffes are highly vicious and they want to hurt everybody, so we might as well hunt them, But anyways, she was searching for an elderly giraffe like other trophy hunters, which I despise. She claims that the hunt is useful for culling older animals, even as the costs involved help fund conservation. Both claims are false and have been repeatedly refuted by conservationists. Anyways, this woman who owns a citrus farm is well known as a hunter, and one with an alleged 500 animal kills to her name, including leopards, elephants, and other large game. It seems important that the cost of killing the giraffe, which was about £1,500 in UK money, was duly reported, and there's the picture of her holding the heart. Isn't that nice? What a lovely, lovely woman you are for holding an innocent giraffe's heart in your hands. Yes, on her Facebook page, where she also posted a video of killing the giraffe, Vandermeer wrote breathlessly about how her husband had booked a trip in Sun City, but quickly changed plans to accommodate the hunting trip when it came up last minute. My wonderful husband knew this was my dream, to kill a giraffe in brackets, and fully supported me from a romantic 5-star weekend away to roughing it in the heat and bush. I was literally like a little child for 2 weeks and counted down the days. Afterwards, I was flooded with emotions as I've been waiting for years to have this opportunity to murder an innocent giraffe. Look, I'm all for hunting, all for eating that food, especially if you need it. But this trophy hunting crap, that needs to stop. That needs to stop. Speaking of wild animals, a crocodile in Florida has gone through a nice journey because veterinarians at the University of Florida College of Veterinary Medicine surgically removed a shoe that was eaten by a 341-pound Nile croc named Anuket. Anuket swallowed the shoe in December after it fell off a zip liner zooming above the crocodile's habitat at the Alligator Farm Zoological Park in St. Augustine. The 10.5-foot croc was seen eating the shoe, regurgitating it, and then eating it again. And finally, veterinarians at an Oklahoma animal hospital said a puppy believed to be the first ever to be born alive with 6 legs, is beating the odds by surviving and thriving. The Neal Veterinary Hospital said the puppy, named Skipper, was born with a single head and chest cavity, but she has 6 legs, 2 tails, 2 pelvic regions, 2 lower urinary tracts, and 2 reproductive systems. The hospital said Skipper is believed to be the first canine with 6 legs to be born alive, and despite some signs of spina bifida, her organs appear to be in absolutely great shape. Who wouldn't want that puppy? 6 legs. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. What's the weirdest paranormal, supernatural, UFO type dream you've had? Haunted history. Huge, empty, dim room, extremely high ceilings, windows way up high, my heels echoing on a black marble floor. No one around at first, giant butterflies on the wall, could hear wings rhythmically flapping. Then thin, dark men come in. They don't vocalize, but we communicate. Nivik. Never had dreams of that sort, just real experiences. Music and truth. The night I went to sleep and dreamed something weird about Lou Elizondo saying something weird when I was in the car with him and basically doing something I didn't like. And then waking up to find out he did something I really didn't like. That was quitting the TTSA. Dystopia Dennis. I was driving some kind of watercraft. You stood out on the mouth of the river that opened to the sea, high cliffs on both sides with a small landing nearby. I parked and I hopped off the craft. The water shimmered and was odd blue, 2 visible moons. One was larger. Underwater, I saw something large moving. It emitted dull lights of many colors. This large manta ray-looking thing that was iridescent and translucent with 4 brilliant tails breached the surface and fled off into the sky. I followed it on my watercraft into the sky. Crystal, I was on a craft being pointed to look through the window, saw Earth, its beauty, then I watched how man is destroying it, woke up crying and depression overcame me. The dream was 30 years ago. It still haunts me. Skull and Bone, one super vivid one where my left side of the brain was drilled like I could feel it, and I was on some sort of table with people. Ooh, scary. Witness Citizen, how much time do you have? I have one good one, but I can tweet it as a longer story. It involves a dream and the phenomena while awake. Matt, I never dream about UFOs and paranormal. Well, you're boring, Matt. Son of a gun. Get into the game. Get us some aliens. Bug, that I could crawl through different dimensions. That was really weird. Back to front, front, back, black and white, real slow. Was quite relieved when I woke up. In search of UFO, bro, I saw an 8 orangish glowing saucer, and I began floating upwards toward it, and a hatch opened like a month ago. It was an awesome dream. Yep, you've got aliens, my friend. Davey, the one where I realized that I was lucid dreaming and decided that I would take the opportunity to visit the Royal Navy Forest Moor site, even in a lucid dream state. I was blocked from getting too close. Jim, I've had many dreams about Bigfoot, but I can't pinpoint which one was the weirdest. Eric, with a K, we are his 4th favorite show, people. He says, meeting Dave's beard at UFOCon in San Francisco and watching the beard literally telepathically control my mind into buying him a few drinks. That is very true, that part. That's why we're number 4. Katie gets the final word. I don't remember dreaming any of those kinds of things. My dreams are mostly post-apocalyptic weirdness. Post-apocalyptic weirdness. Big thank you to everyone participating in the Thought of the Dave. We will do it all again tomorrow because that's kind of like what we do around here on Facebook and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Thank you to Captain Shirk for the SOR Newswire and to Butch Witkowski, who came in from UFOcop.com, where he joins us at near the end of each month with Strange Days. Butch will be back at the end of March. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother Is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everybody in our chat rooms tonight on YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Facebook, Spreaker, the Space Travelers Club, and all the snarkers and snarkettes hanging out at hashtag Spaced Out Radio on Twitter. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, say it with me, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night. But tomorrow, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night.